Okay, so this is the meeting of the Country Club of Woodbridge Commission, Monday, October 26th. We're in the Town Hall meeting room. The first item on the agenda is public comments. There's no one from the public here, so we'll move into the minutes of September 28th, which I had, I believe, emailed to everyone. So I'm going to make a motion that they be approved.
I'll second.
I got a second. Whoops. Is there any discussion about?
Yeah, I got discussion on it.
Yeah.
I think you brought it up that, and I was totally agree with you, that there's nothing in there that we talk about the club in all your minutes. We had brought that up last meeting.
I'm sorry?
She brought up the
clubhouse. The clubhouse?
The requirement that we're responsible not only for the club.
The golf course.
And there's nothing in there that says that. I don't want you to go. I don't think they have to go and just everybody says something.
So you want to amend the minutes in some way,
Yeah, I want
Richard?
to amend it that somewhere along the line that this commission is not only responsible for the golf, but it's responsible for the buildings.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, we're not.
No, we're not.
Was that a misunderstanding on your part?
We're not.
Huh?
No.
We're not responsible for the buildings.
Read. You brought the ordinance in.
Oh,
I'm not.
But we're not. That was.
I think that was before the rec department stepped in too.
That was all from the past.
Yeah,
that was how it started. Yes,
nobody
it is.
changed it.
Well, they haven't changed it.
Okay.
I'm sorry?
It has not been changed.
No.
That's correct.
But we are not, none of that is.
You're not responsible for the pool, and you're not responsible for the tennis courts. But if you look at the ordinance that was passed, and you brought it in there, that part of the responsibility is.
But it's not any longer. I just brought it in because it was interesting that this is how the whole thing came about, and it all changed.
Because it doesn't. I mean, this is the Country Club of Woodbridge Commission. It isn't the Golf Commission. I feel we have a responsibility for that building by the Board of Selectmen.
We don't anymore. Did you get invited last week to go look at the building on Friday?
Yeah.
I mean,
The second meeting, no. I do have all the follow-up questions. I think you helped put those together, right?
Sure.
Didn't Betsy talk to you about? I talked to you. Am I in a different meeting or what? They wanted to know how many Woodbridge people play on the
Yeah,
court.
that had nothing to do with the clubhouse, though. That was just, how many touches
I'm
we
sorry,
had.
what are we talking about?
Yeah, that's,
I'm
confused.
But I feel that somewhere along the line, that the way this is set up, and I read it, and you brought it in, you brought it down, that we not only have the responsibility of the golf thing, but also the building there, the country club building.
Well, that was how it was originally set up, and that's why I brought it to us. But it doesn't, we don't have any, I think it's all out of our hands now.
You make recommendations. That's all you're supposed to be doing, is making recommendations to the Board of Selectmen. Read the paperwork.
Right.
Tommy, your group has nothing to do with the clubhouse, correct?
not a single thing.
Okay, used to be, years ago that you could use the kitchen, you could use this or that, that's all been squashed.
Prior to the start of the 2014 season, in 2014, we removed ourselves from that per the golf agreement, that we would be responsible for strictly the pro shop.
Yep.
And that would be it. Any function or any activity, even janitorial services, would be under the town.
But is the pro shop part of the golf? Yes.
I would say on a 60,000 square foot building, we're probably responsible for about 1,200 feet.
Yeah. So I mean, you can't say that. Okay, we're not responsible for the building, yet part of the building they're using part of the building. And the only reason why I'm getting into this is that somewhere along the line, I'd like to see, coming from us, that they put at least a tarp over the building so the building doesn't keep corroding and falling in. Because there's parts of it that got some leakage. And you could say that we're not part of the building, and I'm saying you are part of the building because they're using part of the building. So you can't have both ways.
Yeah, I mean, my recommendation is just as a private taxpayer to make that recommendation to the Board of Selectmen, because again, basically, we've been advised that the town will take care of issues other than the golf that relate to the Country Club of Woodbridge Commission.
When you say you were told that, where did it tell you? I'm sorry,
I would like to see, I'd like to see, we've been meeting, and there's no resolve as to whether there's gonna be a building, gonna have condominiums up there 55 and over, or the golf course is gonna stay, or the golf course is gonna go. But I think as the commission, we should put a little pressure on the selectmen with some type of recommendation from us saying either that they're going to come to some kind of proposal, at least make up their mind as to what to do with the Country Club of Woodbridge, or Woodbridge Country Club of Woodbridge.
Okay.
And I think we should send something to them as a unanimous thing that I know they have proposals, and there's going to be a meeting, I think, Wednesday night here regarding it again. But we should say, look, if whatever it takes to get the taxes down and get the maximum amount of building there, whether it reduced to 9-hole golf course or leave it as open space or whatever. But I think enough is enough going around in a circle. We're not accomplishing anything.
Okay, we being who?
Us, this commission.
Okay, well, we don't have,
We don't.
the item that you want to talk about is not something that we've been asked to deal with. What basically,
We've been asked to deal with the country club, okay?
Right.
And like Rich said, the country club is the country club.
okay,
Granted, the building is in terrible array. Nothing's going to happen to it. I mean, it's probably going to be torn down. Or the developer that takes over the property is going to rehab it or knock it down and build another clubhouse.
What developer's taking over the property?
That's what I want to find out. I think we should send a letter to the Board of Selectmen and find out exactly what's going on. And which proposal are they going to take? Are they going to take a proposal that says we have an 18-hole golf course and we can't put up any condominiums, or we're going to have a 9-hole golf course where we can put up 70 units, or we can have no golf course and put up 170 units? I don't know. If the irrigation system goes, it's going to cost $1 million.
Sandy,
The irrigation system isn't going anywhere.
What?
I said the
an
irrigation
irrigation
system is
system,
fine.
an irrigation system is a bunch of plastic pipe with fittings. It eventually leads to irrigation heads. Over time you replace fittings, you replace heads, things like that. It's not like a heating system or something like that. And to make this statement with your total lack of expertise in this field, it's like people claiming or making a statement that there's mold in the building,
There is mold in the building.
there's making a statement that the thing is falling down.
The building is falling down.
That's ridiculous.
You're right. I heard people
That's
say that. You're
ridiculous.
100% right.
The Board of Selectmen think that it would cost, if the irrigation system goes, it would cost $1 million to repair.
Can I please ask where
No,
you got that
the
figure
Board
from?
of
I got it from
No.
some of the Board of Selectmen. I'm not
The
gonna
Board of
mention names.
Selectmen never did any such a study. I mean, that's ludicrous.
I totally agree. But I think they
And it's wholly irresponsible for you as someone in a public position to espouse a view like that.
Well, excuse me? you didn't go to the meeting, did you?
Which meeting?
The meeting between the Board of Selectmen and the Finance, did you?
I didn't need to, it's on TV.
Well, no, you were invited to the meeting.
Well, I went.
She went.
I get invited to a lot of things.
No public comment that night, so
Yeah.
you could watch it on TV if you want to.
Yeah.
But I'm saying,
That's the same thing with
along
this
that,
meeting.
one of the members of the Board of Finance is the one that was talking about how much it's gonna cost and the mold that was in the building.
Right.
He didn't say that, he's repeating what a member of the Board of Finance said.
Okay,
Yes, but that's.
but, I mean, is there someone who's a professional who knows something about mold and knows something about buildings that have gone through it and come up with this opinion? Or is this, are these opinions of people, you know, that have my level of expertise? I mean, I'd like to know
I don't
that.
have any expertise in it. My concern right now
Yeah.
is to bring down the taxes in the town of Woodbridge. And the only way we're gonna bring down the taxes in the town of Woodbridge is to develop that property.
Yeah, but that's your,
Well,
that's your
that's
personal
fine.
opinion too.
That's
I mean,
fine.
Do you have
Yeah.
another way of bringing down the
Yeah.
taxes in the town?
Maybe I don't want to
Okay.
bring down the
All
taxes,
right.
it's different opinions.
Who doesn't wanna bring them down?
So,
I don't.
I don't think.
I don't either.
You don't wanna bring the taxes down?
I don't think,
I don't think
You
that's
know.
a conversation that we need to have.
Well,
this
but I
evening.
think
I'd like
I
to-
would like to make a motion that we
Yeah.
send a letter to the Board of Selectmen telling them.
Can we go
that
to the
we-
minutes first?
Okay, go ahead.
okay,
Can we amend, I'd like to make an amendment to the minutes that,
fine.
that somewhere along the line, I did bring in the possibility of us looking at the building.
I'm sorry? Or repeat that, Richard? I was trying to figure out what to write
I
and at
know,
the
but
same time, there was a
we
little
got carried
noise.
away on it.
Yeah.
We're at the minutes and
Okay,
and when I was saying to you that I spent some time, and I think you spent some time about bringing in the ordinance that was related to what we're supposed to do. And I felt that somewhere along the line in that ordinance, it's my own personal thing, that we have the responsibility of looking at the building itself. And I didn't see anything in
Okay.
it. That's all I seen was
So,
golf.
I mean, I believe what
No, I
you're
don't
saying
want you
is
to
that
have
you would
to-
like inserted in this that, that a copy of the existing ordinance that was approved by, or authorizing the, or creating
Creating the
Creating.
commission.
Country Club of Woodbridge Commission was distributed at the meeting.
Which
That's fine.
which included,
But I just distributed it.
Huh?
I just distributed it.
Your purpose was to
My
show
purpose
us,
was to show that this is
If
what we
we-
were set up
first of all,
for.
if we had
But
any
we were
power,
certainly not set
and
up for
secondly,
to
where
look
did
at
the power
what was
go?
gonna happen to the land. We were set up to try and deal with the Country Club of Woodbridge remaining a golf course. That was the purpose of why we were originally here.
would it surprise either of you fellas who are good guys on this panel, that we had nothing to do with the contract that Tommy's group signed with the
Nothing.
town?
Right.
So we kind of get bypassed all the time about making any kind of decisions.
Exactly. I
So we have to sit here thinking, what power do we have?
That's exactly what I'm saying, that I would like to send a letter to the Board of Selectmen telling them that we'd like to push for one of the proposals that they may have before them.
Well, the answer to that is hopefully going to be a referendum where the townspeople
Oh, of course
will
there'll be a
make this.
referendum, but they have to make, before you can have a referendum, you have to have a proposal that everybody agrees on, that's elected, then put it
Well,
to a
we're
vote.
down to one now unless it gets withdrawn. We're down to one proposal.
Can I just, I mean, focusing on the minutes, Richard requested an amendment, and what I've done with the amendment is this language: a copy of the ordinance that created the Country Club of Woodbridge Commission was distributed and discussed at the meeting. Is that okay?
Yeah, and I did bring
How
out
about
some
if
other
we,
stuff that I don't see on there. My recommendation was that, and I think I brought it up to you, that somewhere along the line that this country, the building itself, I'm repeating what I did last month. I mean, you can look at the minutes. I said maybe they want to take and have the recreation department go in there. There's nothing there. I mean, I see there's nothing that even talks about that. Am I missing something at this thing, or we just put on what we
Okay.
want to put on?
Well, no, I mean, my view of the minutes is sort of two things. I like to keep them short, okay, first of all. But secondarily, these meetings are aired on what is it, WGA TV or you know, whatever.
Right.
I believe 4 or 5 times a week.
They're usually on twice. I
Okay.
watch them.
Well, okay. In any event, you know, and all of the, shall we say, the nuances, you know, of the meeting, you know, become, you know, evident or whatever to people, you know, as a result of that. And, you know, I mean, I guess if we are voting on something,
No,
I
I'm
think
just
that's
making.
one thing.
I'm
If
just.
someone-
I made a recommendation.
but please, if someone is offering an opinion that was not voted on,
It's still
Okay.
part of the minutes. Let me say, I was the chairman of the board of
right,
Aldermen
would
for
you like to be
years and years.
secretary? Would you
Okay,
like to be secretary, Richard?
it doesn't have to have the minutes are what goes on at the meeting, and that went on at the meeting. Whether he voted on it or he voted on it or nobody voted on it.
All right.
Those are minutes that are part of the meeting. Now, if you want
Well, you know-
to, if you want to curtail the minutes to just the way you want to curtail
It's
them,
not, you know.
be my guest.
I mean, part of the thing, very honestly, is that I believe we might be the only commission that does not have a town employee keeping the minutes.
Then maybe we need one.
Well, I'm just, you know.
Hey, I'm willing to talk to them if they want.
Yeah.
I just don't
So
want
I'll-
to spend my
you know,
time.
Any way you would like
spinning.
to, any way you would like to amend the minutes, just, you know, why don't you write it up? We'll defer action on it right now. You'll make some changes. We'll come back to it at the end of the meeting.
That sounds
Is that
okay with
okay?
me, Derek.
All right. So Tommy Miller is going to talk about September. et cetera.
Financials. We'll start with the financials. So if everybody can go to the month ending in September 30th. Good story to tell here. Rounds over prior year were up 263. To budget, they were up 724. Total revenue was up $32,000 to plan and $14,000 over prior year. As far as the net income goes, we were about $6,000 to plan and up about $11,000 on the over prior year. So again, another really good month for us at the club. Year to date, our revenues are up $51,000 over prior year. 51.6 actually. So a pretty good story to tell there. We've seen pretty substantial growth here in the last 2 years, and we don't foresee that slowing down anytime soon. So any questions on either the rounds or the revenue side for September?
How much money are we over the amount that the town would start getting some money back on?
Yeah, we'll cover that. It's in the latter portion of the presentation. So if we're good there, we're going to move on to the October presentation. We just want to talk a little bit about our end of year forecast and what this is. Obviously through September, if you we'll kind of put these sheets kind of side by side so you can take a look here. This is the forecast sheet. It's got the little Billy Casper logo here, so you can kind of follow along here with me. But our end of year forecast, obviously we're through September. October, November, December are typically a little light in the Northeast. But our end of year forecast, we're going to finish up in greens fees by almost $50,000. And this is all results to plan, or results to budget. Up 2,000 in membership, up 8.6 in shop sales. Lesson revenue exceeded plan by 9.7. We're going to exceed the total budget by 54,000 and over prior year by 68.5. So some pretty substantial numbers there. When you consider we really didn't get started until that second week in April. So for us to, and obviously we're budgeting a little bit here for November and December, but those are basically averages of where we were at the last 2 years. So all things being equal, those are some pretty significant numbers. We'll turn the page here. And
Tommy, before we go on, just to address Sandy's point. So, as forecast for the year, what would the golf revenues be?
Golf revenues, if I remember correctly, they're going to come in at right around between 890 and 895,000. Subtract 828, which is where our escalator kicks in, or our profit sharing kicks in, and we'll split that in two. You'll be somewhere between 32 and 38,000 in a return check to the town this year. So,
Okay, thank you.
On a membership, the 2,000K, what does that relate into members?
those are either full 7-day members, full 5-day members, junior members, twilight members. Those do not include our card sales, but those are strictly kind of paid in full memberships for the season, or dues.
Well, one of the key ingredients that I see the finance board talking about is really how many people, Woodbridge residents, use this course.
2,245 people used the facility this year from the town,
So that's 25% of the population?
roughly.
Right.
Not 7.
Not 7.
I said not 7.
Not 7.
Oh, yeah.
Just to give you an idea, the last 2 years, to give you an idea how far we've come, we budgeted in 2014 when we restructured the agreement. We knew there would be some changes since we separated the pool and the golf. We budgeted for 125,000. This year we're going to do 261,000 in dues line. That's an increase of $135,000 in 2 years. Total budgeted outings in 2014 was 39,000. We just didn't do a bunch of them. This year we booked 220,000, we did 220,000 in actual business. That's a $181,000 increase in 2 years. And then the total budgeted revenue for 2014 was 1.123 million. This year we're going to come in at 1.38, which is a difference of about $195,000 in 2 years. So the arrow's definitely pointing up at the country club. We're excited to post some positive golf results. We've got a stable membership base. We've got a nice group of people for outings, and we continue to do a nice job on the public golf side.
Tommy, could I just interject for 1 second? The number of outings we had this year, can you tell us how many have committed for next year?
We
Out of all the ones
Yeah,
that
yeah. We have a 97% retention rate over prior year. We also have booked 5 new golf outings for 2016, so we think that number will go up again. So we're excited about the relationship with the town. We think that, from the golf standpoint, we know it always wasn't perfect, but we think that we've at least stabilized that operation, and obviously with us returning a healthy check back this year, it limits some of the town's liability. So we're excited to help out there.
And Tommy, for 2016, I know you're in the process of doing a budget, but I mean, do you have like a ballpark on like the total revenue increase?
It's going to come in. We're going to budget right around that 1.35 number. We had.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
but that includes
that'll
F&B
include
or whatever.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, like for golf revenues, I mean,
Golf revenues, you'll probably be between 890 and 900,000 next year.
No, this year, but next year.
Next
you're
year,
saying?
yeah. And the reason for that is we had some really good events this year. We had some really good weather. We also obviously had a late start, so we think all things being equal, if we could stay kind of right at that number, this is a pretty good year for us. And if you look at, and Deke puts this stuff in the notes every week, but at some point you're going to hit your high water mark. You can't continue to hit a home run every time you're at the plate. So we know that at some point that's going to happen. Our goal is to start to drive the average per round and see if we can enhance revenues that way. So from a round standpoint, we're probably as high as we are comfortable going. We're going to do over 30,000 rounds of golf this year. So I think that it's important for us to start to drive those APR numbers, and that's going to require some sort of capital investment. both from Casper and possibly from the town, as far as how do we stabilize or how do we increase the food and beverage experience, bunkers, and some detail work. So we know that there's stuff in the pipeline there, but
Even food and beverage.
well, we would like to have a more consistent experience, meaning a place where you could sit down and eat and maybe watch the game and have a beer while at the conclusion of your round.
What is a membership? What do you get for a membership?
It would depend on the day and time that you play. I have packages as low as $1,800 and packages as high as a little under $4,000.
And what is that entitled to?
It's all the golf you could play, cart fee, range balls, priority tee times, access to our other Casper facilities as well.
But there's different memberships in the sense, as an example, there's one that, a 7-day unrestricted. There's one just, basically weekdays.
Yep.
So, you can kind of
Yeah,
pick.
afternoons.
And there's also
yeah.
like an afternoon membership, so you can pick, any of those basic three, I think.
Yeah. And we have a junior program that we offer and some couple stuff like that. So we try to offer a few options so we can accommodate our guests.
Tom, are you thinking that the return to the town this year would be from 32 to 38,000?
Yeah, it's really hard for me to project November and December weather. We just went with what was on par for the last 2 seasons, and that's where I came up with the number. I think based on the figure I ran today, it was right around 34, but there's a little bit of flux in there as far as if the weather's really good, that number's going to go up. If it snows, not so much.
Do you know if in the industry there's any formula or way of gauging how much a round brings into a local economy?
Now, that's a good question. What I can tell you is, Jeff, we operate off what we call a heat map. And a heat map it shows your traffic based on zip code. So we know our hottest spot is 06525. And that's the Woodbridge zip code. So anything within a 10-mile radius, we see the majority of our rounds. The one factor that makes it a little bit difficult for us to gauge is when we host a tournament, we can't necessarily track where each individual golfer comes from. So, for example, if you and I were to go over and play at Yale tomorrow, I live in Beacon Falls, you live in Woodbridge. There's no way of them knowing where we're coming from. And we, of the 30,000 outing rounds, about 5,000 of those we can't necessarily gauge the data, but the rest of it we can see it's usually within a 10-mile radius, and that's where we see the majority of our play coming from.
Now you said 2,000
245.
for Woodbridge
Correct.
residents.
Correct. That's individual touches,
That's
not
individual-
rounds. Individual touches,
What does that mean?
meaning individual households.
Individual households.
Yep.
Of those, how many have memberships?
That I would have to do my homework on, and the reason for that is you have different types. You also have what we call card holders. We have probably another 200 to 300 card holders. But again, based on our matrix of how many players of ours are coming from that 10-mile radius, we would say a significant portion of those rounds are from Woodbridge residents.
Any questions on the financial stuff, either, September or the forecast?
Tell me we don't have October yet because October's not over.
Yeah, but it's really good.
October's been incredible.
It's really good.
Honestly, I have to say that I would urge, I play at the golf course, obviously. But for those of you who don't play at the golf course, I would think in the next few days you ought to go over, take a cart, and take a ride around the golf course. It is absolutely magnificent.
She's just kidding. We're air flying tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Well, you know what?
So,
But
tomorrow's not the best day to come.
Well, but the golf course, the
Yeah, with the
facility
foliage right now and everything
is
looks really
so
good. Yeah,
beautiful
that's exactly
now.
right.
It's worth seeing. I mean, it really is. Even aerating wouldn't
Yeah.
stop it. But I know that October's been
Yeah,
parking lot's been full.
We,
just amazing.
we will be at 100% of our revenue target for the month. So That's a pretty healthy number. We were budgeted at 59,385. We're going to come in between 120 and 125. So, pretty exciting stuff. Just a quick update on agronomy. Obviously, greens aerification today or tomorrow and Wednesday. And the reason we went so late this year, we had a lot of outings booked. We had 8 outings booked in the month of October. So,
Anything that can be done to like accelerate the healing of the
do it
greens?
earlier so you can get warmer
Well,
weather.
no,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
There's different theories on this,
Yeah.
Deacon. That's a good question. Some guys buy into the theory that the smaller tine, you'll see a faster healing process. Meaning, when you pull the core, if you use
Yeah.
a smaller core as opposed to a bigger core, once you roll the greens, the response time is quicker. Some superintendents like it, some don't, and the reason for that is they don't feel they're pulling as much material. Which in the springtime you could see a negative effect if you don't pull the right amount of material. Obviously, you get into thatch, which is that layer of organic material on the top. So when we pull it out, we want to make sure we're getting some air into the soil, but we're also getting that layer broken up on the top, so that way the plant can actually get water. So that's why we actually take this machine. It goes down. It's just like you aerify in your yard. You pull the core out. That'll make sure that some of that material goes away. What that does is it keeps your plant healthier, especially in the spring, or the summer months whenever it needs to get water.
What happened with the sand that we were talking about? Was it last meeting or the meeting before?
We with
Buffer
us
sand, I
being
believe.
so typically we will do a project like that in the fall. Once we finish up the aerification process, we'll take a look and try to fit it into a window sometime in November.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness to Billy Casper Golf, it's not 100% certain that they're going to be here next year, or that the golf course will be open. And right now they're at the point where 50 cents, or because they're past the break-even point on revenues, where 50 cents of every dollar that they get, goes out the door to the town. So, there's no real incentive at this point in time to spend $10,000 is what we were talking about, on the sand.
Well, see,
Yeah.
that goes back to what I said before.
Yeah.
I think as a commission, we should send something to the town, either supporting the golf course or saying that you want open space and you'd rather have the condominiums built. But if we just sit around doing nothing,
Yeah.
the town's going to do whatever they want to do without any
Sandy, the
recommendation.
town is going to do whatever it wants to do.
Yeah.
I mean, there are 7 of us, and they're going to have to deal with the entire town.
That's right. And if they don't hear from us what we feel, they have no idea. I mean, we are the country club of Woodbridge.
Well, I'd like to see how this plays out. I mean, one of the comments made by one of the members of the Board of Selectmen at a recent meeting was, or a request to have, and I don't know if it was the members or the chairpersons or whatever, the Recreation Commission and the Country Club of Woodbridge Commission, and maybe Billy Casper Golf, come and address the Board of Selectmen and I guess also the Board of Finance on the prospects for those businesses.
I don't know if we're not, I know if we had a problem when I was on the police commission, we wanted something, the Board of Selectmen to know something.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were going to go to 4-wheel drive vehicles, SUVs, which we'd never done before. We sent a letter to the Board of Selectmen telling them why we're doing it, so and so and so and so, and we got their support. Here, they have they don't know how you feel. Do they honestly know how you feel?
Well,
How I
that's-
feel?
Yes, I think they do.
Well, if they read the emails I sent to them, I guess they do.
Okay, but was that as a
Yeah.
commission or was that as an individual?
Probably as an individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
why do we have this commission then? If we can't send something,
Yeah.
I mean, just to sit here and go over the golf statistics every time, to me is,
Mm-hmm.
either we're
Okay.
going to make some recommendations to the town regarding the outcome of the
Okay.
country club, or
Okay.
We can sit
Well,
around and
you know,
drink tea
yeah,
all evening.
Obviously, that wasn't on the agenda. Or,
Put some under
something,
new business.
yeah, we can, or we could elect to put it on the agenda in November.
Whichever you'd like to do.
Well, I would like to have the opportunity to see how the process that the Board of Selectmen has defined unfolds. And I say that very simply, and just as an illustration, I understand this Wednesday that Toll Brothers is going to come in and, well, talk about their proposal and/or talk about a revision of their proposal or something like that. And, if very simply, the Board of Selectmen decides at that point in time to present that to the town for vote, then, frankly, I think it's sort of pointless what we think about it.
But I think, in that same light, okay, you're probably, this commission is probably the only one that really can look at, can we still keep a 9-hole course? And would Casper still riding a 9-hole course? I think the last
Excuse me,
proposal was a 9-hole.
But why, I'm trying to,
How can they make decisions without talking to the people that are?
Well, you're going to have to ask them.
yeah, why are you asking
I mean,
us?
it's like, how can you make a decision about the building or, a mold issue or whatever without getting an expert opinion?
Well, they already have, according to the finance board person, he brought in a big package, if you see.
No, those.
But
three
I totally
reports.
agree, okay? But I think what he's saying is that somewhere along the line, people are looking at this commission to look at giving some direction to the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Board.
Right.
Now, maybe they haven't told you that, but they have told us that.
If you have, let me ask you this. If they reduced it down to a 9-hole golf course, is that a feasible golf course to bring in revenue to the town?
Every market is going to be different. We have a property up north. It's called Lyman Orchards. They're
Yeah, I know, I've seen it.
36 and a 45-hole property. They have an Apple 9. The Apple 9 does about 12,000 rounds a year. The typical round somewhere between $12 to $25. But you can see, based on the numbers that I just gave you, what that scale of revenue would look like compared to the numbers that we just covered.
But is it feasible? I mean, you got an 18-hole
Well,
golf course.
That's a tough question for
yeah.
me to answer, Sandy, without doing any research. And I wouldn't feel comfortable giving you an answer unless I did my due diligence. Does that make sense?
Yeah, oh, by all means.
Perfect.
I mean, if Toll Brothers comes in and says that they will build, and they'll keep a 9-hole golf course, I would like to be able to put some information out there saying, oh, it's a good idea, or it's just not going to work. Let's keep it open space. It's going to cost the town money.
We would have to look,
But
Sandy,
wait a
at the
minute,
number of
excuse
units.
me, but how about the third part of that puzzle?
What's that?
The third part of the puzzle is that we have an 18-hole golf course that the townspeople voted to keep. And Toll Brothers never said that they were going to deal with a 9-hole golf
I
course.
just gave out a hypothetical. I said
Well,
if Toll
and my
Brothers came
hypothetical was
back,
also keeping the 18-hole golf course.
and what
That's
happens if Toll Brothers says they're not going to want the 18-hole golf course?
all. Well, I don't think the townspeople have said that they're ready to have Toll Brothers come in. I haven't seen that anywhere in Prague.
Well,
Have I missed that?
Well,
Have I missed that?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either. But I'm just putting out different things. I mean, if they have no idea what our feelings are, I mean, what good is it? If Toll Brothers says the only way I'm going to do this is, or any developer, let me put it that way, question mark, any developer comes in and says, we're willing to develop that property over there, we'll have a 9-hole golf course, and another one comes in and says, we don't want a 9-hole golf course, we want to develop the property and have an open space. And then there's a third that might come in and say, okay, we'll keep the 18-hole golf course and we'll build around it. Did we say anything to the selectmen as how we feel?
I think the
Well,
selectmen,
I would think if if there were specific alternative proposals such as that, I would think that then we would have the opportunity to react. I mean, right now, the only proposal that I'm aware of in any event involves building basically on the entire site such that there would no longer be a golf course. Now, obviously, or to follow up the comment that I made before about, someone on the Board of Selectmen saying, well, I'd like to have somebody say or talk about what the future, of the golf course they think is. Okay, because if you go in the opposite direction and don't have a golf course, then you would need to know also, well, what happened if we kept a golf course, or what might happen if we kept a golf course.
I think we're missing the thing. The Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance, right now, the issue is the country club, okay? And somewhere along the line, they're gonna look for some answers on the country club, okay? My personal thing on this is it should stay as an 18-hole course, because I don't think a 9-hole course
I agree with you. See, that's all.
with the other courses in town you can't match them. But you guys have been on this golf commission for years and years. I mean, I think somewhere along the line your opinion is wanted, and it keeps like you kind of don't want to make an opinion. You let somebody else make the
You
opinion.
said something-
Who else can make the opinion better than the people that have been on here?
Right,
You
you
people
said
been on for
something about
years. You're running
expertise.
the club.
You said something about expertise. You have expertise in this. You've been on the committee for years now. And what is your feeling? Is your feeling that you want it completely developed?
As
Do you want-
soon as
we
I
should
get
make our feeling
invited,
known.
as soon as I get invited to the Board of Selectmen to offer my semi-professional opinion about the future of golf, I'm ready and willing with statistics and all the other stuff. But, so far nobody said.
So that's the
Yeah,
reason
tell them
I'm
what you
saying we
think.
should take the initiative and write a letter to them.
Well, I don't, I mean.
Do you want
again,
a letter from the
I mean,
Board of Selectmen asking your opinion? Is that what you need? We'll get it. I mean, I didn't come on this commission to sit and find out how many holes of golf we're gonna play, okay? I come on the commission, I was asked to come on the commission to look at the Woodbridge Country Club and where the direction it's gonna go. And that's what he's the same on the same thing. We were both asked to get some direction of where this country club is going. We've been dilly-dallying around the town, not just you, but the town for 2 years, and we still haven't had a direction where we want to go with this club. And every year that it goes, we keep losing more, and we keep spending more and more money. So we're here, whether you like it or whether you don't like it, we're here to get the country club moving in a direction. And I think that's what he's asking for. He's asking for us. Now, if you want a letter from the selectmen to ask your thing, we'll get you that. I mean, you're kind of dilly-dallying around. We're asking you questions, and you're not really coming up with answers.
Tommy, with the sand that we need, and today is October, can we get it done by the end of the year if we had the money?
Certainly. We have the bodies, we have the capability, especially with some good weather. Believe it or not, the best time to actually do a project like this is in the fall time or later fall, because it requires a settling period for the sand. It actually, when it comes off the truck, it's very fluffy. And based on the angular cut of the sand, it'll actually start to, say, fuse together or gel together.
Right.
And once it settles, it usually takes about 4 to 5 months to really start to compact. Well, it's nice when that process happens over the winter as opposed to in season, so it's a little more playable for our golfer.
If we're zero for a lifetime on this commission with making recommendations, why don't we make one tonight? And the one that we'll make tonight is that we'll talk about our optimism for the club for 2016, the fact that you fellas need some things done there, and we know one of them is the sand and $10,000. Why don't we make a recommendation to the town that they use some of their profit to do this first and spend $10,000, and then we'll give them the recommendation and we'll see how they react.
I think that's fine, except though, I think the initial priority for spending money is safety issues with respect to all the trees that are, well, dying, losing limbs, falling in areas where golf carts travel. I mean, there's a cluster of trees that golfers pass under, four times in the course of one round, and these are all dying. Limbs are literally falling daily.
Of course, the recommendation from us that it could be declined because of the fact that they have safety issues and would rather spend the money doing that. It's still in our favor.
I know that. I talked to Warren, and he's willing to help the Public Works on cutting the trees down. That's what I
Well,
gathered.
they can't, but he doesn't have the equipment for it. It
Well,
requires
they're
the
gonna
use
have to rent
of,
equipment.
requires the
I
use of
totally
bucket
agree.
trucks, and
Right. But I mean, they're still gonna be part of it. They're gonna take the stuff out of there, if I understand correctly. That's what he's saying to me. But
Rich,
you understand what I'm trying to
we've
come
been
across?
waiting for a couple of years for this.
Am I missing it? Do you
I
understand
don't know.
what we're looking to do? And maybe you're not willing to do that, but we're looking to get some information related to this country club and the golf and everything back to the selectmen and the Board of Finance, okay? What our recommendations are as a commission.
I mean, we can't order the sand say if they're gonna have a referendum that says country club's gone,
Right.
we just spent $10,000 and blew it into the air.
Of course, they could put it on hold and say same thing that we all said, that until this is all decided, the $10,000 doesn't get spent. But I thought that if we needed something to go forward with, which would be something different, let's do something. Make some kind of a recommendation so that everybody in this room would feel
Yeah.
that we are stepping forward.
Yeah, I mean, again, Dolph, I agree totally, except that, just as an illustration, if Billy Casper Golf is here next year, which, again, I don't mean to imply they might not be, but in any event, I believe that they plan to begin taking care of the sand issue, okay? But they also do not have bucket trucks.
Right.
And this is town property, town trees and things like that, and it's really, more the town's responsibility. And again, that's why I say, to the extent that there's monies going back from Billy Casper Golf to the town under the revenue sharing agreement, then I would, like them to be earmarked for, probably $3,500 maybe at the outside to eliminate these trees that are
Safety
safety
issues, okay.
issues. Yeah.
I don't think anybody in this room is against that.
But if you look at the growth of the job they've done, I think that's got to be brought forward. I
Right.
think Casper's done an excellent job in the last few years to bring in the revenue and to bring into the thing. But who knows that?
They,
besides-
excuse me, but usually we have someone sitting here from the Board of Selectmen. I don't know where our Board of Selectmen person is. And they do get the minutes, and they do get every piece of paper that crosses our desk, crosses their desk. It's not that they are unaware. And we had Susan Jacobs for how many? Well, I've been on, I think, 2 years. And then Joe died, but I don't know where Joe is tonight. Maybe he had another meeting.
Right.
So it's not like they don't,
He's playing golf.
they certainly,
Glow golf.
I'm sorry, is he playing golf?
I
No.
say glow golf, yeah.
It's not that they are not aware. They are very much aware. I mean, they get all this information, and we've always had a liaison from the Board of Selectmen with us. This is, I think, the first meeting we haven't.
And in fairness, I would presume that they would not just consider what has happened, but what could happen, in the decision making.
There's a word, assume,
Yeah.
and assume is not a good word to use.
Okay. Whatever. Okay.
Well, I just
But-
wanted you
Yeah,
to
but-
understand that they certainly have been kept very well informed.
Yeah.
Everything that you see, they see, and as I say, we've always had someone here from the Board of Selectmen. I just don't know where Joe is tonight.
Okay.
Well, what I found,
So-
I think the public's not informed. I think that's a big issue. I get asked, you know, if they're losing money,
You're
losing
not-
money, and this is not.
Let
this
me
is not
say
what we
to
see.
you, you're the public, do you think the public knows that they're doing a good job?
Because
I think they're doing a good job.
I think they're doing a great job, but nobody knows they're doing
And I
a
think
good
why I
that,
job.
wrote
I
the
think
letter,
that
I mean.
somewhere along
Yeah,
the line,
I
the
know.
public has to know that they're doing a good job, like you
I
said.
agree.
But
I think
where
we
does
should
it
give
come
them a
up?
plaque.
Yeah.
I'd like that. Tell me we'll get you a plaque.
They received the plaque from their company. 168 courses. They were most improved and superintendent of the year.
We were.
No one knows that.
Yeah.
Countrywide, and no one knows that.
And
170.
we're gonna expect the
160.
people to vote on this country club
Without that information.
without knowing the information. You
I mean,
understand what I'm trying to say?
I like the idea of the country club, okay? But the public out there that I run into, and I think Rich has run into the same thing, everybody's complaining about the taxes, and the country club is the reason the taxes are up, is what everybody is saying, okay? Forget about, there's other expenses in the town that have also gone up. But it's the country club, they say. And you said, you know, they voted to keep it as an 18-hole golf course. They can vote just as quickly to make it open
But
space.
it will be,
Yeah.
it will be a town vote. I mean, and there,
But the thing is, the Board of Selectmen have to come with a package to present to the referendum. They're not gonna, well, they're probably, maybe they'll put 3 packages up, I don't know. But they have to come up with some type of packages to say, hey, this is what our feeling, we're putting it out to the town, what does the town wanna do with it?
But the town has, and I think you brought it up, the town gotta realize, and I don't think the town realizes
Right.
that the country club is doing good.
Well, I think that part of
They're
it, you
doing a
know,
good, fantastic job. Who knows that besides the people here?
well, I think a lot of people do know it. If-
Maybe the
if-
people that play golf, but I'm talking about the average person that doesn't play golf. They don't,
Well,
that's
there
all
are
they see is
25% of
the
the
expenses
people.
related to the
You have
country.
25%, you got 75% on the other side that are gonna say, hey, I don't play golf, I don't wanna put this money into it.
Sandy, I'll respectfully disagree
Well,
with that.
then-
If you don't
then-
have a kid who goes to school
Yeah.
there, you say I don't want to.
Yeah, or,
You know, I think that might be a little.
I'm fine with that standard, but it should be applied then to all services. I
Right.
mean,
Well, I agree,
library,
but I'm
recreation,
just saying,
you know,
you're
whatever.
saying 25%.
Yeah,
There's a percentage out there that does not play golf.
I understand.
That is against
I
it. I shouldn't
understand.
put it that way, okay?
There's
I
a
said-
huge percentage that doesn't use recreation department
Exactly. That
programs
was
or
brought up.
library services. I mean,
And I haven't used the elementary school in more years than I would
well,
like to think
you
about.
know, that's statutory.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so, there was a semi-motion, I guess, that I am interested in, or in particular about having some claim, I guess I'll call it, on the overage or the revenue sharing that that we expect that the town will earn this year. And again, my view, and I'm open to amendments, is that in the least, some of that money should be used to resolve the safety issue of all of these tree problems that we have.
That should be a winner.
Right.
As
I
a
agree with that.
recommendation, that should be a winner, because everybody's
Yep.
concerned with safety.
Okay. Let me just figure out if I can. All right, so. I'm gonna try to do this in fewer words.
And it's also a recommendation.
Right.
But we have to vote on it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still do that here.
Okay. So the recommendation is that a portion of the approximately $35,000 in revenue sharing that will be returned to the town at the end of the present season be used to remove approximately, I'm going to say it's 6. Is that fair, Tommy?
I think that's a safe number.
Yeah, approximately 6 dead trees on the golf course. Does that sound okay?
We should put it at an anticipated cost of, because otherwise they'll look at 6 trees and they'll say, well, how much is that gonna really cost us?
Okay.
That says $3,500.
Yeah.
It's a double winner.
At a cost not to exceed?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Is that-
And get the first hole.
Well,
Sneak
You
that
didn't
in.
have to ride with this guy.
okay. So, on a motion, which I need to, well, then let me read this again. It was recommended that a portion of the $35,000 in revenue sharing that will be received by the town at the end of the present season be used to remove approximately 6 dead trees in the golf course at a cost not to exceed $3,500. That is a motion.
Good.
I'll second.
That is second. And any discussion?
Let it fly.
Okay.
They're gonna cut it down from the top of the butt.
No, bucket truck only, these. Yeah, I mean, you can't, I mean, just as an aside, I mean, you know, people they either use like a bucket truck or climb.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody in their right mind would climb these
Climb,
trees,
yeah.
not in their present condition. Yeah, yeah. Okay. We hadn't dealt with the meeting, or the minutes, or we hadn't concluded with the minutes. You wanted to make some amendments, Richard?
I got another question on the
Okay.
minutes.
You have my minutes.
Yeah?
And
You have those.
I'm trying to look at the. They were seconded by.
I'm sorry?
Prior minutes or tonight's? We didn't approve the minutes yet for tonight.
No, he's talking about last,
Oh.
No, but it says Dolphin.
That's me, Dolph. Adolf.
Adolf.
Oh, well, they missed the A on it.
Well, everybody in town
Everybody
calls me
calls him
Dolph,
Dolph.
so you can
Oh,
call me
that what they
Dolph.
call him?
Yes.
Okay.
He hasn't objected so far.
I'm waiting for my,
I'm looking at it
waiting
and
for my
see
next
this.
stint on this commission before I change my name.
Yeah, but I didn't see who he was. That's you.
That's me, baby.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's
Okay, but
okay.
Richard, you did want to put something in, and again, the language that I have, I would put it on the line above the adjournment line or whatever, is a copy of the ordinance that created the Country Club of Woodbridge Commission was distributed and discussed at the meeting. So that's the only amendment I have so far to the minutes.
Well, I did talk about the building
And I
itself,
said, you know,
but,
if- you know,
it sounds like you don't want to talk about the building. Because the building is a building department, but the ordinance puts the building as part of your responsibility.
Well, I have to
open to
tell you, the
amending it.
ordinance puts a lot that's supposed to be part of our responsibility, but it really hasn't been. And the building, I got an email from the Conservation Commission that the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen were going back to the building on Friday, last Friday.
Yeah.
It was a regularly scheduled, like, alternative date for that meeting. Yeah.
I got an email from Kathy Witt from the Conservation Commission that they were meeting. Did they go last Friday?
We
They
did
Yeah,
have some visitors.
But they had 2 tours.
Right, that was,
Yeah.
oh, that
And it was
was
scheduled as 2.
as two separate.
You know,
I
just in
didn't,
case
she
some of
didn't,
people
I didn't
couldn't make the
get, I
first one.
didn't get
Yeah,
any announcement of the first one. It
Okay.
was just the second one
Okay.
that, but
yeah.
I guess my point is that I don't think they emailed this commission.
They didn't.
Right.
I didn't get anything.
No, I got it from Conservation.
Let me ask you, what would conservation do with the building? Conserving it?
Well, that was Conservation Commission is obviously interested in it because that's who sent me the email. I didn't call anybody, I didn't ask anybody, I got an email.
Did you go?
No. I felt that if I would have gone, but I felt that if they had wanted to invite this commission, they would have sent me an invitation. Kathy was sending me just information about, I guess I get a lot of conservation emails. That was one of them. I did not go, and I don't know if they went.
Well, I'll get it cleared up by the Board of Selectmen. But I mean, let's put it this way, the ordinance reflects that we are responsible. It also says the pool and the tennis courts. But then they changed that, and they said, okay, the pool and the tennis courts come under the recreation.
But they changed it.
Okay.
That was changed.
It wasn't changed in the ordinance.
But there's nobody so-called responsible for the building. The building is still in the responsibility of the Country Club of Woodbridge. Now, you could say what you want.
Well, no, no.
That's what the ordinance says.
It's like all public properties. There is no commission that's responsible for, as an illustration, this building.
My key is, in my whole discussion on this,
Yeah.
okay, if you can understand that, is I don't want to see that building get to a point where it has to be torn down, okay? I'm hearing that the roof's leaking. Put a tarp on the roof. Preserve the building till you make a decision of what you're going to do with the building. That's all I'm saying. And when you brought in the ordinance, which I looked at the ordinance, the same thing, it does have the Woodbridge Country Club responsible for the building. And that's all I'm saying is
Okay.
just
So how
preserve
would
it.
you how would
Put
you
a
like that?
canvas over it. Do something with it. I'm not telling you to rebuild it, but part of it's, they use part of it.
That's right. If we're not responsible, then it shouldn't be in that building.
Why? It's the town's responsibility. We're not, we when this whole thing came about, and I wasn't here from the very beginning, but there was more input with what happens on the golf course. But do we really do anything but just do this part of the golf?
Well, we're sort of monitors, I guess.
Yes, we monitor, but prior to this, we did do perhaps more.
How about if you took the ordinance that you've been reading and we all received from you, we send it back to the Board of Selectmen
And they should change it.
and say, is this still the way it is or not?
I think that's a
I
very
think we're
good
gonna
idea,
get or
though.
not.
Right.
But the
Yeah.
fact is, we could do that too. It's another thing we can accomplish tonight.
Okay,
It's a
And that's,
beautiful,
they don't have to do a lot of writing on that because we already can just send the ordinance over.
So affirm or amend.
Right.
right. I think that's a good idea.
Which
Very
will
good
take us out
idea,
of the
Dawn.
middle.
Okay.
Sandy, would we be entitled to revenues that we would collect for the clubhouse?
That's what I would think.
So the bag storage and the locker fees go back to the town as revenue. Should those be on Casper's book then?
It should be on the commission as far as I can tell. How does the town collects those?
The town collects those
I didn't
fees.
realize that.
Yeah, but that's a contract between you and
Another
the
way
town.
that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because we're not responsible for that building.
Right.
We do them the service of providing the bag storage and also the locker room fees. We collect those for them. But that revenue share goes back to the town.
Well, who wrote the contract up?
Man, that's above my pay grade, Deke.
No, I didn't write it.
Bob Deek's paying rate too.
I mean, that goes back that we inherited a tower that they get $2,000. What is it? A year or a month?
you use the locker rooms too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would say our golfers use the locker room. That's correct.
And how, I mean, the locker rooms are part of the building, right?
Right.
Or am I missing something?
No, you're good.
And yet we don't think that we have any responsibility in the building. But
We
yet,
don't. We can't influence how
We
it's
can't
maintained.
influence it. We really can't, we can't influence it.
huh?
We can't influence, I don't know, what temperature it's kept at, how it's maintained.
What's spent on oil, gas, electric?
You know,
none
I
of that
mean,
is on the P&L
You know,
here.
I mean, we're in a sense, or Billy Casper Golf is like a tenant that uses the locker room
Uses the club,
as a co-tenant, if you will, with the pool and tennis operations.
Okay,
Yeah.
but yet, when you're looking today, you're saying, well, we have nothing to do with the building.
Yeah, but that contract's with
Well,
the town.
Let me ask you,
Contract's not through
let's
us.
go back to this bagged storage and locker room stuff. How much do you collect roughly? Just give me a ballpark. I'm not
About
asking.
$5,000 or $6,000 a year.
And that goes to the town.
Goes back to the town, correct?
See, that
Bag
was very
storage
good.
Bag storage and locker fees both.
Or locker fees too, okay, I didn't realize
It all
that.
goes
Yeah.
back to the town,
Yeah.
$5,000.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of hidden stuff
Well,
in
the
there.
locker fees must be more than that, aren't they?
Well, keep
I
in
mean, a
mind,
lot of them
anything-
go
the
through,
pool,
the
the pool
pool
locker
side.
fees are collected at a
Yeah.
separate point. So
Yeah,
just our
okay.
golf,
Okay.
our
Yeah.
guys who golf, we collect those fees.
How do you know? Are they assigned locker? Are they all?
They're given a key at the beginning of the season, and then they're asked to return the key at the end of the season, and then we reissue
And
every
the
year.
swimming and the pool has the
And
same.
the pool collects their own separate locker fees as well. Obviously not the bag storage, but the locker.
Now, that area down there is supposed to be in better condition than the rest of the club. Am I correct or am I
The
wrong?
bottom of the locker rooms themselves
Yeah.
were one of the last things that was renovated when the club was still private. And I would say that locker is as good as any that you'll find in the Connecticut area. It's fantastic. I mean, the showers are fantastic. The oak. What are the ladies have?
Everything's
Oak,
very
and the
high-end.
guys have cherry.
It's very high.
Yeah, it's very high end, beautiful facility. It's one of the talking points that when we show outings, we provide a towel service and a few other amenities, and it's a great selling point for events.
See, this is what's boggling my mind. Penny wise and pound foolish. The roof is leaking. You go out there with a tarp. If your house was leaking, you'd have the roofer put a tarp over it until you decide what you're going to do.
Well, I think what you first would do is you would find out where it is leaking and whether it can be repaired. You would then, if you made the assessment that it needed to be replaced as an interim move, you might put a tarp over it.
But while you're waiting for somebody to come out
You
there
just
to
let the
inspect
water go in until
it,
you-
I would put a tarp
That's right.
over
What
it
I'm saying is
so that we could figure
That's
out
right.
what's going on.
What I'm saying is that, to my knowledge, no one has looked at whether or not it could be repaired.
That's what I'm saying to you.
Okay.
I got one.
You hit
one
the nail
question.
on the head.
Okay, Derek. Is the country club, is the golf related to the building? Is it or isn't it?
Well, the golf would not exist without the
The
building.
golf, let's say
Yeah.
the golf and the function of the golf
Yeah.
is related to this building at this present time.
Right,
You agree with that?
In a small capacity.
yeah.
Small capacity, anything.
Well,
Let me say,
and
you
Richard, the only
couldn't-
reason I would say that is you have a
You couldn't
60,000
go without
square
it
foot
right now,
clubhouse.
today. You couldn't run that country club without
Yes,
it.
they
I
could.
could
Oh,
get a
you
double
could.
wide trailer in
You
here
could do
tomorrow.
double
and do
wide-
it.
You can't.
It could be done tomorrow. Well, as soon as
Yeah.
the building came down.
I mean, we went through that a couple times in
Right.
But if the
the
building
last
comes down,
couple of
we're not
years,
gonna have
looking
those
at it
locker
as an
rooms. They're
alternative.
not going to have the
Yeah.
showers.
That doesn't impact,
It
it
doesn't
has a
impact
very
golf.
minimal
But
It's a
impact on
minimal
our golf
impact.
You
experience.
looked at it and you felt that it's an integral part of the golf.
No, it's
As
not.
you said, you made
It's
it-
not. I've been
No.
at clubs
No,
across
no,
Because
the
you'd have to
country.
build a couple of trailers to bring it in. I understand that.
I've been at facilities that are in a single wide trailer that do $2 million a year, and that's the clubhouse. People come for the golf course,
Mhm.
and I think it's
But-
important that we
yeah,
know that.
Yeah. But
And I
in
would
any
bet that
event,
you never sell the clubhouse as part of your deal to play golf.
Negative. That's exactly right.
So you just said
But-
you use the locker rooms.
it's all
We do, yeah,
the same
yeah,
thing.
we do use that portion to show it, but the pavilion where we actually host their event is outside. It has nothing to do with the clubhouse.
That's your tent.
but
But what I'm saying, the
Yes.
building itself is still integral part of your golf.
Negative.
Negative. That is the wrong word to
I
use.
go over there when I talk to you, you go into
It's
the
incidental.
shed, that's part of the building, no?
It's
Am I missing
incidental.
it?
I think you said it right. You said shed, correct? Is that
The
is
shed,
that what we-
right. But I'm saying, it's still a building. It's part of the golf running the golf at that
And
building.
Richard, I am telling you, you could do it out of a single wide trailer based on the square footage that's required.
Exactly. But
Okay.
you wouldn't have lockers in the trailer?
No impact on the
We
experience.
didn't need lockers, right?
No impact on the
And
experience.
you don't have places for people to store their stuff.
Would not
It's
impact
part
the
of
experience.
golf, guys.
No,
Well, it's also, but it's,
It may not be the biggest part of it, but it is a part. And what I'm saying is part of our thing is
Yes,
we're
but
looking at
Richard,
the
here's
golf,
the-
and we ought to be looking at the building. And you keep like,
well, I don't, I mean, I really don't agree with that view.
Do you collect the
I mean,
the
I don't-
alignment? Do you collect the fruit and beverage money?
It's
I
third party
use it
outsource.
meeting.
At Lyman Orchards, at Wittenberry and Oxford, it is done at the club level.
Okay, can we get back to, we were dealing with one thing earlier about this issue about the existing ordinance, and I've tried to synthesize that into a motion, and the way I have it phrased is, it is recommended that the ordinance creating the Country Club of Woodbridge Commission be affirmed or amended by the Board of Selectmen.
I'll second that.
After they read it.
I'm sorry?
After they read
I'm
it.
only being mean here.
No, you're right.
Well, I'm marking this as your motion, Richard.
That's
I
fine.
didn't put that motion in.
But that would solve your problem for the whole
Well-
night. If they come back and say it's amended, then all your thoughts about the building are gone, because it's not
Yeah,
our
but when you say
responsibility.
amended, what are they gonna amend? That the building isn't part of this
As
commission?
of October 12th
Okay.
of 2010, we took over all the responsibility for this building.
Well, it's not just the building,
I
Dolph.
made
I
that
mean,
up, but
really,
that's
it's the
possible.
golf course too. The town has taken over that
Closed.
responsibility.
Okay. But, just, I mean, Richard, just,
It just,
if
I mean,
the-
I'm a rational person, and maybe I sound irrational, okay? But you have a golf course, okay, and Casper's running the golf course, and Casper uses in part of a building, okay, that is part of the Woodbridge Country Club. But
No,
we're
it's the
saying
Country Club
that
of
we
Woodbridge
really
now.
have no responsibility of this building, okay? Because it's not part of the golf course.
Excuse me, Richard, could I just ask you one
Well,
quick question? What responsibility do you have for the golf course?
Excuse me?
What responsibility do you feel we have for the golf course now?
For the golf course?
Mm-hmm.
To make sure it's run properly, which I think it is. I have no problem with the golf course running properly. My question and my whole thing on that is the building. Am I missing it? I can't see the building that they use part of, okay? And we're hearing that it's leaking, it's just sitting there and nobody's doing anything because we don't know really what to do. And I'm saying at least, I gave a suggestion the last meeting, and I'll give you the same suggestion today, is maybe what they want to do is take the Recreation Commission that's working at Center School, instead of putting it in the firehouse, where they gotta build a shelter, they gotta build a shed for the firehouse, to take the stuff that's in the firehouse and put it in the shed there. Let the firemen stay in the firehouse, the shed, and let the recreation go over to the building. Do what you have to do to go to building. You got showers there, you got lockers there. It's a beautiful building. The money you're gonna spend over here, that you're gonna build this big thing over here for the fire department to store their stuff in, because they fired up, their building wasn't big enough, so they gotta build something else. We gotta spend money to build something else. Don't do that. Let them stay where they are in the fire department. Move the recreation to the golf course. Let the police department go to Center School. That's my, so my
But if-
thing was the building.
If the Board of Selectmen affirms the ordinance, then you will have the opportunity to
Oh, they're gonna hear
make
me.
these recommendations about
Right.
the building, correct?
But that's what I was
Yeah.
trying to come across.
Okay,
I'm looking at the
But-
town. Some people don't care about taxes, but I do, because I pay a lot in taxes. And I can't see spending money to build something over here when we have a building that we can use and it'll probably give more space for the recreation department. They'll have lockers, and they'll have showers if they want.
See, I don't know how much it would cost to fix up that building. I've heard
Wow.
figures from all over the place. And I'd like to know exactly how much, like you said, bring in somebody, but if you haven't brought in somebody, at least protect the building so it's sort of a stopgap measure. I know if my house was leaking, I'd put a tarp on it until I get a roofer over there and have him give me a suggestion. May ask for 2 roofers, 3 roofers, whatever it takes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a report from 2011 that does look at the building, both the deficiencies and also looking at, I'll describe it as being like restoration. And I put that in the context of saying, okay, as an illustration, the carpeting probably all needs to be replaced. Okay, so that's X dollars. Okay, now obviously that implies that the existing use is continued. Okay, which really doesn't make a lot of sense, or that is to continue the existing use. So there's an underlying fallacy in the report. Now, having said that, yeah, I have that in digital version. If anybody would like a copy of that, I can send it, by email to you.
Let me ask you, if I could remember back, didn't you just meet at the country club? Wasn't there meetings there? Or
The commission, yes. Yeah,
I thought I went there a few
yeah.
times, no? Or did I miss it?
When the upstairs or upper level was open, which was through 2013, we had, I think, all our meetings except maybe winter meetings.
I thought that's where you met.
Yeah.
And what happened in 2013 besides moving the meetings?
Well, the responsibilities of the commission got narrowed to just golf, and the contract with Billy Casper Golf was revised such that they were no longer responsible for food and beverage.
And then they just closed up the upper part. Is that it? Was there a reason they closed up the upper part?
Well, they being whom? It was. I mean, in a sense, it was never reopened. I mean, because again, the food and beverage was basically a seasonal thing tied to golf, and of course the pool. There was no, like winter activity. So basically, it was just never reopened. Yeah.
Well, I didn't quite. Why weren't we? Why don't we meet there? It's closed. Is that the?
We did that once last year. We ended up meeting in a no, in the women's locker room.
Yeah.
Right.
Locker
Oh,
room.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in the lower level, there's really no, I don't know,
Meeting
like
room.
logical meeting room. I mean,
Do you know how much them lockers
Yeah,
cost?
yeah.
Did you ever get the estimate?
That
How
was
much they
kind
cost?
of-
The
that was-
original or the
Yeah,
original
I went
country
through.
club?
Let me see. I did a lot of
Yeah,
research.
yeah.
Okay, I've got all the stuff that they had put into that. They put a lot of money into that thing.
Yeah, they certainly
I got
did.
all the
Very
building
high-end.
plans.
Very high end.
I mean, I got to think that I'm just not coming here unprepared. I mean, I went to the building department. I pulled the plans there, how big the building is, what they did. They're talking about they don't have a fire
Sprinkler system.
thing.
No,
They have it. They put it in.
Put it
It's
in?
in.
Yeah, but it's wet, not dry.
Yeah.
Okay, can we go back though?
Yeah,
We were
I
trying to
got you
make a
off on a
motion.
different tangent. But go ahead.
We were
go
trying
back.
to make a motion, and again, I'm describing it, or I have it written down as, it was recommended that the ordinance creating the Country Club of Woodbridge Commission be affirmed or amended by the Board of Selectmen.
Affirmed or
Or
amended.
amended.
Either
Well,
stay as it
affirmation
or
is
change.
Is
pretty
that-
clear.
Good.
Amendment is at the option of the Board of Selectmen, I believe. I
Right.
don't think we're gonna say
Change.
amended in the following way.
Right. But you're not going to tell them what you want to amend, right? You're just saying that is it good the way it is or it isn't? Is that what
If
you
it
really
isn't,
Right.
if it isn't
So
accurate,
that's why,
and,
yeah.
Then
you know,
it
they
would be
choose to
changed.
amend it, then amend it, yeah, yeah.
Do you want me to make the motion? I'm happy to make
Okay,
that
well,
motion.
yeah, I mean,
I make the motion.
done.
Let's have Rich second.
Would you like to second this, Richard?
And I'll vote for it.
Okay, any further discussion about the the motion? All in favor? Opposed? I'm sorry, was that opposed in here?
No,
Oh, okay, you were just slower.
I'm a very slow person.
Okay. All right. Have we covered everything?
So do you want some humor on the minutes?
Sure.
Looking up on top where it says also attending, do you think it would be great to announce those who are coming from the Board of Selectmen or the Board of Finance and throw them in so maybe they'll show up more regularly?
Oh, Joe Dye was
Idea.
here. Members, no, it says members present and also attend, oh, we forgot
I'm
to
sorry,
add
was-
Joe.
I'm
You
sorry.
know,
We'll amend
it's
it.
a-
Yeah, Joe
Joe
was
Dye.
here.
Joe was here.
Normally,
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
do list, or...
It wasn't important as Rich's stuff.
Yeah. Illustration earlier in the
Joe
year.
Day was there, right?
Ellen came to a meeting, and yeah, I did.
Yeah, in
I don't
July,
know why I
I
missed that.
invited Owen.
I don't know why I missed that.
It's okay, Dee, you do a great job.
Okay,
Can I move that we adjourn? Are we done?
well, are we done, or are we ready? for-
Sure.
Okay,
Uh,
Phyllis.
I move we
is-
adjourn.
Wait, I think we should go over and look at the 6 trees that.
It's
If
too
you want,
late.
actually, I can show you pictures. I, sent,
And I'll
sent a lot of
take
people
one of those
pictures of
little
these things.
new cars they have too.
Yeah. Do they have
All right.
headlights?
Yeah. I got gators. We can make it work. You know. We wouldn't spend the money.
All right, thank you all.
All right,
It's all right.
everybody.
Motion to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well,
I got 2 questions for you.
yeah.